Episode number 218. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu number 5. And we have Star Wars Jedi Knights number 1. Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about some comics today. Before we do, remember to give me that like and subscribe. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And on top of that, anybody who's been... who watched my trailer for Amanara. I know we're almost past 1,100. I only put up a few days ago. I've had it on Vimeo, and I moved it. That's the trailer for the show that I'm pitching right now, my sci-fi show. It was directed by Tim Russ, who played Tuvok on Voyager, who's a really good friend of mine. And then it was Nichelle Nichols, who played the original Uhura, was her final performance before she passed. Also has Jason Faunt in it, who plays the Red Ranger in Time Ranger or something like that. Whatever it is. Power Rangers Time something. Anyway, he's a really great guy too. So anyway, thank you all for watching that. Again, I just threw it up there. I wasn't even marketing it, and it's just been blowing up. So great. Also, remember too that I am a writer, so I am on Amazon. So go to Amazon.com and just type my name in. You'll see my Destiny Aurora quadrilogy. That is my sci-fi series. It also was made into a board game, an RPG, and also a graphic novel. It's also on Audible. The first book is on Audible. Really fun stuff there. And I also have my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch, and I'm working on another book right now. And I'm also working on a new comic right now as well, which is Fairy Tales of Terror. It's going to be fun. All right, so let's jump into Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu. So this is, of course, Mark Spector, who is Moon Knight, was also on Disney Plus as a very bad, boring series as far as I'm concerned. And, I mean, he had like 10 million spears through him and he still was alive. I didn't get any of that. But with this one, there was a character who is a drug dealer who was I guess because there was that juxtaposition. Of course, we were crime fighters. They weren't going to allow drugs in their neighborhood. So we had this, battle of the wills originally, which turned into a brawl, a physical brawl, where he says, all right, because they planted drugs on Moon Knight and his team, they basically killed the Midnight Mission, which was their base operations. They're underground right now. And without getting the rest of his team involved, which was his mistake, he said to the guy, fine, let's mano-y-mano it. Let's just brawl it out. And whoever wins the neighborhood, basically. And he said, okay, bring it. So in the beginning of the fight, he went without the rest of his team even knowing. And he was beating the crap out of the guy. And he's like, all of a sudden, all bloody, he gets up and says, are you done? Is that all you got? And then he just lays a beat down on Moon Knight to the point where he was just laid out. He's just laid out on the mat, and that's where we are right now. And he revealed that he was Asgardian. So there was no way he was winning that fight. But I like that reveal. I thought that was pretty good. And we see a lot of imagery here where he's going to be talking to Khonshu, who is disappointed that he lost. So then we have Greer, which is his girlfriend, which is Tigra. And we have Hunter's Moon, which is the other guy in black there, which is his brother, other Khonshu. And then we have 8-Ball, which is a really weird character. And then we have 2 vampires as well. One is Soldier, and I forgot the other one's name, Reese or something like that. But anyway, so they're calling on Khonshu to tell them where Moon Knight is. So, and he calls her daughter, which is very interesting. Khonshu does, the god. And she's like, don't call me daughter. I have my own gods, and you're not one of them. Just tell me where Moon Knight is. That's all the hell I want from you. Very interesting stuff. So anyway, we have Moon Knight again. That's all in his head, talking to Khonshu, who is basically berating him for losing and telling him he's disappointed. That's like pretty much the entire thing. And Moon Knight's basically telling him to go fuck himself. He says, pretty much says, I'm always here for you. And yeah, I'm gonna lose once in a while. And then we go back to the ring, which is the real world. And the girl, his right-hand woman that killed the Midnight Mission, is going to kill Moon Knight. And he stops her. He says, whoa, 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 what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to kill him. He can't leave this, loose end. And he goes, that's exactly what we're going to do. Because if you kill him, he's just going to come back. So we're going to make sure that he doesn't come back. We're just going to keep him alive and tied up. It's actually pretty smart. So when we switch back to the ethereal plane or whatever, and when he's talking with Khonshu, everything's, it's all reiterating over and over and over again. So anyway, Khonshu has told them where he is, and now they're following him with Greer out the side of the car. I don't know how they hit them, and Hunter's Moon still is on the top, but I guess they do, to the point where they're, ramming into them. And they're like, well, they just hit our back car, and this is going to be a problem. Moon Knight's in the trunk, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, they end up getting Moon Knight out of the trunk. And he's, of course, all messed up. And they take him back to the sewer, or whatever their underground thing is at this point. I think it is the sewer. And this is the part I have a problem with. So they have a cop there that's hooked on the drugs, and Greer gives him the drugs. But the problem I have is that Hunter's Moon says, I can heal him. So in the same issue, he's already back up. They should have left him out for at least a half an issue until next issue. Because having him on death's door and now suddenly up, that's kind of cheap to me. So anyway, she's like, you should have told me. He says, I know, I should have told you. I made a mistake. I'll never make that mistake again. I was trying to protect you guys. And instead, it all went to shit. And he looks very, very young there. He looks very anime. So I'm not really happy with the way they're drawing Mark there. But I do like that after this verbal sparring that they do, she ends up hugging him. I really like that panel on the bottom. And I love Tigra anyway. I like to see what happened to her kid. I really liked when they brought the kid in, and they haven't used that at all. And he basically he's already back. He's saying, okay, well, it's time for us to take the fight to them. Why? I leave the stakes as they are, man. And, leave us to the point where, he's not healed up yet, and now Hunter's Moon and the rest of the team have to play the side where Hunter's Moon has to lead the team for half an issue. At least give us that. But overall, I like it. I just, I know I'm kind of nitpicking on that, but I don't like the fact that he healed up that quickly. Everything else I liked. But, give us a little bit, But overall, I think it would make a good movie so far. I like the whole Asgardian thing. I liked with them retreating into the sewer. All good stuff. Now with Star Wars here, because we're going to jump into Jedi Knights, I have dropped everything to do with Star Wars. I was collecting everything before they raised the price on everything. When everything was $3.99, like Marvel raised the price on everything. At least with DC, they've kept a lot of stuff at $3.99. Like even Aquaman is $3.99. I think that Green Lantern is $3.99. I think Batman is the only thing. Batman and Robin, the correct thing, is $5, and I think that Superman is $5. But other than that, they kept a lot of stuff at $3.99, which I appreciate. But with Marvel, everything jumped up. So I had to pick and choose what I was going to get, and the main Star Wars title was not working for me in the least, because they had it through Empire and Jedi in between those two movies, and you can't add stuff into those two movies, because that means you're leaving Han in carbonite. For what? 3, 4, 5, 6 years while you're outgoing doing different adventures? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because right when Empire ends, what does Chewie and Lando say? Well, we're going to go find Han. So how, what, they said, fuck it, we're going to go do something else in the meantime. We'll get to him later. It just doesn't work. So they were messing with canon too much, so I dropped it. I just didn't like it. If you just can't do that, man. You just can't make up shit and throw it into canon. I know Disney does that a lot, and it really pisses me off. So anyway, then the one thing that I was liking was Bounty Hunters. I thought they did a really good job with Bounty Hunters, and I like Vance, and they ended it. So that was over. Dr. Aphra, I really liked the beginning of that, but it just became almost unreadable. It got so woke by the end, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. And I think they canceled that title too. But I had already quit it before that happened. But that was the creation of the murder droids. It really was good in the beginning with her. And she was working for Vader. And she was like the Star Wars version of Indiana Jones. Really, really good stuff. And it just deteriorated to the end where it wasn't even the same character anymore. So I was collecting all of that. And then even Darth Vader I was collecting. But I think the only thing, I think Vader is still around to a certain degree. And the main Star Wars title, and I think that's it. They keep trying to do the other version, like the New Republic thing, but it's doesn't work. So then they put out this just recently with Mark Guggenheim. And I said, all right, I'll pick it up. The cover looks neat. I like all the characters on there. I recognize all the characters on there. So we start out with a bang with this invasion of this planet by one planet to another planet. So we have shrinks, or syrinx. I don't even know how to say that. And then something with a V. But anyway, it introduces us to all of the different characters, like Yoda. I still can't believe they're doing a thing of Ahsoka. That's the stupidest thing ever. Everybody hated that show, and they're making a comic out of it. I'm surprised like 2 people are buying it. Yoda and Mace Windu, Akamandi there, what is his name? Ki-Adi-Mundi, Vecna Mooncrest. All these characters are really cool. And then, of course, you have Obi-Wan on the bottom. And I was kind of hoping that we were going to see, if this was an ongoing series, that we were going to see a new Sith. I don't know if they can put a new Sith in here, because I think this is a period where they say we haven't seen a Sith in forever. So that kind of sucks. So meanwhile, you have Obi-Wan and this other guy trying to negotiate peace. And the guy tries to Jedi mind trick him, and it doesn't work. And the guy just laughs at him, and Qui-Gon even says, don't do that, man. But he does it anyway. But anyway, they realize that there's something they're not telling them. And then you have these two going to investigate one of the other areas of the planet. And it's funny that her name is Adi also. Adi Gallia and Sierra Longa. And they find this whole, like, detention camp, which is the invading forces people. Of course, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of people in there. It's maybe like a few hundred. To invade an entire planet over a few hundred people is a little weird. But anyway, that's what's happening. They do Jedi mind trick that guy to forget that they saw them. And this is where Qui-Gon's like, yeah, there's something going on that we're not knowing. And why are they not telling them that they have hostages? I don't know. And then we have another piece of the mystery here where we have an assassin go after Qui-Gon. Even though the other dude is there, they're literally going, and I'll tell you why he's going after, or that I know he's going after Qui-Gon specifically. And then they're doing an Inquisitors one. Depending on who's writing that, I might pick that up. But anyway, we have the battle with the assassin, and they end up besting the assassin and he gets out of Dodge. And they're like, well, we have no idea why that just happened. And then they meet up with Yoda, and they learn of the hostages. So even Yoda says we may have jumped into this too quickly without knowing why everything was happening, which I found really interesting. And there's Shakti. I really like her. But that's one of the reasons is at least I recognize these characters, and I would like to see more of those characters. So anyway, then try to negotiate the peace now, knowing the extra thing. Although we have no idea, I don't remember why the hostages there. I don't know if they actually tell us. But anyway, they end up sending the Jedi into both planets to destroy their arms and stuff like that. So it basically, I don't know why they have only, a whole planet only has one storage of weapons, but that's what it is. So basically they tear their offensive and defensive pieces apart so they can't fight anymore. So they push the treaty by forcing them not to be able to fight by taking away their weapons, which I find very interesting. The dude that's with Qui-Gon says, I found this on your robe when your robe got cut, and he finds the tracker that he was specifically tracking, the assassin was specifically tracking Qui-Gon, but they still don't know why. And then we're training Obi-Wan, which is great to see Obi-Wan getting trained by Yoda. And he says, I'm going to see the past, the future, and he sees, I guess that's what's going to happen in the comic, which I find really cool to give us little snippets of what's going to happen throughout the series. And I just like Yoda in a dark robe there or whatever. And that's really a good idea. But anyway, so he also sees the assassin killing Qui-Gon, which of course we know can't happen because we know how Qui-Gon dies. All right, so I think that would it make a good film or television show? Anything with an actual plot that doesn't go off the freaking deep end would be better than what we saw. I can't believe they're doing Ahsoka season 2. I'm gonna puke on that. That's the whole reason I even dropped Disney Plus. I can't believe they greenlit the season 2. That thing is just awful. They must have done it as a favor. I'm probably going to check out Andor, but yeah, Knights of the Old Republic kind of thing, I'm all in for that as long as they don't mess with canon. But again, let's see what happens with Kathleen Kennedy. Is she going? Is she coming? I don't know, man. I don't think that chick will ever leave until she'll be on her deathbed going, I'm going to greenlight one more show, but it's got to be all women. That chick's crazy, man. And she openly says she's never been an executive before. No shit. Because you suck at it. So my answer is actually yes to both of these so far. But let's see where the Jedi Knight stuff goes. But overall, I like it so far. I think it's actually it's probably the best Star Wars book they put out in very, 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 very long time. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give me that like, give me that subscribe. Share this out there as well. And thank you all for watching Amanara, the trailer there. If you haven't seen it, you can just go up my channel. You'll see it. And yeah, if I can break 2,000 views on that thing, that would be pretty cool. Like I said, I'm pitching it literally right now. I have a meeting on Sunday. See what happens. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Remember to have an awesome week. All right. See you guys on the next episode. Talk to you soon.